Hello, my friends. Jacob is here once again. End times, man. Prophecy. All these events. One of my favorite topics. One of the things that I'm kind of most curious and most fascinated about, and I got to tell you, there are a lot of them going on. My channel, basically, over the last 2 years, it is plenteous in events that are leading us up to something that is coming our way, or something that is already here and about to be revealed. Had a couple of major, substantial events that you could consider prophetic that have just taken place. Consider this. Trump endorsing the Jexodus movement. It's the Jewish people leaving the Democratic Party because of their treatment and anti-Semitism towards Israel and towards the Jewish state. Prophecies playing out. Exodus, Jexodus. Exodus, Jexodus. The plagues that led up to it. Have we seen a couple recently? If you remember, in early February in Mecca, there was a big to-do about all the locusts that were descending upon there. And then, of course, in Egypt, Saudi Arabia, to the point where the UN actually had to issue a warning, a big one. Locust outbreak so large that it was spreading to Sudan, Saudi Arabia, Ethiopia, and more, and heading, of course, towards the Holy Land. According to Smithsonian Magazine, on March 6th, the locusts arrived in Israel. But Israel was a lot more prepared. There's something to be said about that. It wasn't very long after I heard about the locusts that all of a sudden people started telling me about this fig tree that founded Los Angeles and how this fig tree had now collapsed after 144 years. Did you hear that? And that's 144 years now. And you know, if you're new to the channel, you don't know this, but there is a substantial meaning behind 144, because there is a group of individuals, 144,000 of them. One of the reasons why this channel is here, I believe, spiritually speaking, is to awaken, whether it is a metaphorical number, a legitimate number, a literal number, who will bring in the truth of God to this foreign and corrupted land. I mean, the whole thing is like playing out like some kind of end times movie, right? Don't you think? With the Middle East talks that are going on, which, by the way, the election, right after the election, this Middle East peace plan will be announced. Will Jared Kushner be successful? Will Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu be successful? Well, after some comments that the Prime Minister has made, it is a reason that we all should pay attention to what's going on right now, at this very moment. When I got emails from everybody about the fig tree that collapsed in Los Angeles, the one that was 144 years old, I was a little bummed. It's the fig tree that founded Los Angeles, the angels, right? The messengers of God. Another word of, the angels would be translated into the messengers. And that's where that fig tree collapsed. The fig tree being symbolic of course, Israel. So it, of course, got me a little, I was a little bummed out. I was a little sad to see that, because I said, what does it mean? What does it mean? Coming off of the heel of all these locusts, coming off the heel of all of the other events that we've seen. The fact that the Middle East peace deal is about to go down, that the temple is probably going to be built, the altar was already dedicated, that we're seeing all of these things play out. It's like they're trying to bring back their Messiah, if you will. You probably remember that footage of Benjamin Netanyahu speaking to the rabbi, where the rabbi's saying, "Will you hurry up already?" They want to establish their law, and that's what Benjamin Netanyahu just said, which is why we had Wonder Woman coming to the rescue. You can't listen to this show and not be a little bit intrigued with what is going on. Do you remember about a year ago where Benjamin Netanyahu and others were talking about that New Deal, the new law that basically made Israel a Jewish state? So the big hubbub right now in the Middle East is the fact that there was an actress who was criticizing Netanyahu and the politics of everything. And she went to Twitter and she had said, "When the hell will someone in this government tell the people in charge that Israel is a country for all its people?" Netanyahu responded, he said, "No, Israel is a national state, not of all its citizens, but only the Jewish people." So the very famous and very powerful Israeli actress came to the defense of the other residents of Israel by saying, "Love thy neighbor." If the truth is told, in Christ there is no Jew or Gentile, there is no rich or poor, there is no black or white. In Christ, right? See, that's the thing. And with all that said about Christ, it is ironic that Wonder Woman, once again, the symbolism here, right? It just blows my mind. She said it's not a matter who's left or right, who's secular or religious, who's Arabic or Jewish. It's a matter of tolerance, it's a matter of peace. See, this comes off the heels of a very controversial law that was passed last year. The nation-state law. Its controversy was passed. Supporters call Israel's new Jewish nation state law a defining moment, where critics call it apartheid. And it has three basic fundamental principles. One of them is it states the right to exercise national self-determinism in Israel is unique to all Jewish people. Number two is it establishes Hebrew as the language primary, which downgraded the Arabic language. Now Hebrew is the number one language to be spoken. It also establishes Jewish settlements as a national value and mandates that the state will labor to encourage and promote its establishment and its development. So it's all about the Jewish people. Now, this is what they believe. So let me tell you why I'm very excited about these signs, as they say. The plague of locusts, if you remember anything about history, it was one of the plagues of Egypt, right? Just recently, they also were swarmed by locusts. It was one of the things that got Pharaoh to finally say, "All right, I'll let you go," because Israel they were slaves. And God's people were not meant to be slaves. They were meant to be set free. So one of the plagues that came before their freedom was this plague of locusts, which I see as a sign for all of us, that maybe we too have been enduring a plague of locusts in our lives, people who care about themselves, who devour the fruit of our labor, who care nothing about anybody but themselves, who have no king, but they're like a herd of cattle being directed in any direction. The next plague that follows the plague of locusts is, of course, complete darkness, blackness, blackout, like what's going on in Venezuela right now. The UN just released a damning report about Israel and about the 2018 protests in Gaza, where something like 6,000 people severely injured, many killed. So as there is much dispute over the Temple Mount, where, of course, the next temple is going to be built. And, of course, they're saying that it is going to be claimed there. And then, of course, they want another mosque that is going to be there as well. And, of course, right now, as I am speaking, the Temple Mosque is closed off. No business because of firebombs, attacks, protests, riots. What is going on? Can we see more of this happening in the future? Can that fig tree that has collapsed be a picture of that area? Could you imagine if there was some terrible big attack, something that went down that would then give Israel the wherewithal and the political power to basically do what they want, when they want? Sort of like what happened in 9/11 after the terrible attacks on the United States of America. The truth is, everybody, this is really about you and me. When we see these events playing out in the natural world, when we see them playing out, we understand that it's actually speaking about something that is connected closely to our spiritual growth. The plague of locusts somehow reminds you of the plague of Egypt, which then led to the plague of darkness, which then led to the death of the firstborn of all that were born in Egypt. That would be symbolic of the death and the loss of the false idea of who we are. Egypt being symbolic of this beast system, of this world. And we've been plagued, and we've gone through things, and we have suffered, and we have been ignorant. And the locusts that came out of that bottomless pit, they seek to devour, and they had a tail like that of a scorpion. A tail is also spelled T-A-L-E. It's a lie. We've all been lied to. We've all been lied to. From the moment we came into this world, we died to the truth of who we are. But the good news is, when Passover happens, which is right around the corner, isn't that strange? There's a resurrection that takes place right after it. The angel of death is coming for that firstborn, that false idea of you. And I think it's about time that we lay down that life of suffering, that life of pain, that life of heartache, that life that we have lived for so very long under the bondage of Pharaoh, of our shame, of our fear, of this system. And I think that we should look at everything that's going on in the world and we should say, hey, that's a projection of my spiritual life. So when it all goes down, and it's gonna go down in a big way, just remember, it's really going up for each and every one of you. I love you all. I hope you do subscribe. I hope you share it around. Tell your friends. Do me a favor. Pass this video around. Help me get this around to other people. People need to wake up to the truth. And the good news is it's time for Israel. And that means me and you. The children of God, not the natural place. It's a symbol for Israel to be set free. I love you all. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching Jacob Israel. Please hit that like button, leave a comment, subscribe, and share this channel around. If these shows have helped you, help Jacob to reach more any way you can, and have the best day ever.